Hi, my name is Nicole. Welcome to my channel, Travel to Money. In this video, I am going to share all about the different forms of transport in Spain. We will cover everything from public transport to ride sharing to walking to renting or even buying a car in Spain. Yes, I've done that. If you are new here, I have created this channel to help you learn about how to travel, adventure, and have fun on the road to financial independence. I have traveled the world, I own a couple of houses in Spain, and I'm on a creative journey to financial independence. I believe the road to financial freedom can and should be fun. I would love for you to subscribe and join me on this journey, no matter where you are starting from. I've been to Spain more than a handful of times, and you likely know by now that I own a couple of homes there. One of the reasons I decided to buy a house in Spain is because of the fact that the roads are so nice, and I found it relatively easy to drive there. I've spent time in Valencia, Madrid, Barcelona, Granada, and too many smaller cities and towns to mention. I nearly walked the distance of a marathon in Valencia during the Fallas Festival. I've taken high-speed trains from one city to another. I've rented cars in Valencia, Alicante, and Madrid. I went through the process of buying a car and plenty of other transportation situations. So I really hope I can help you think through how you can best get around in Spain. Let's start by talking about walking. If you are from the US and you haven't traveled much or at all in Europe, you may not realize that for the most part, cities are walkable and public transportation is the norm. Not only do you not need a car in many places, but often it could be more hassle than it's worth. In Spain specifically, not only are the big cities walkable, but so are the small towns. The only thing that would not be considered walkable are between cities and towns. My homes are in the small town of Pago with only 10,000 residents. When I'm not traveling to another town and I'm staying in Pago, I only walk. The town is too small to need any public transportation within the city limits. On a rare occasion, when I do a big grocery shop, I might take my car just for easy transport of the groceries. But many people there have these cart sort of things for doing that sort of shopping so that you don't need a vehicle. If you are just going to one city, I think walking is your best bet for generally getting around. And the cities are so beautiful. Walking really allows you to take in all that Spain has to offer. Next, let's talk about trains. Spain has one of, if not the largest railway system in Europe. Though you might look at flights between major cities, a high-speed train ticket could be more in line with what you're looking for. I'll give you an example. One time I flew into Madrid but needed to get to Valencia. I took a local train from the airport into the city center of Madrid. From there I was able to get a high-speed train ticket to Valencia. With these super fast trains, you can get from Madrid to Barcelona in just 3 hours. One of the things about trains in Spain that I was not familiar with are rules about certain cars. On that same trip to Valencia from Madrid, when I first boarded the train, I wasn't sure where I was supposed to sit and hadn't studied the ticket well enough. I saw a woman working and asked, "May I sit anywhere?" She nodded yes with a smile. I found a seat at a table, threw my luggage overhead, and began to pull out my salad. One of the train operators came through to check tickets. I handed him mine and he started fussing at me, saying that I was in the wrong car and telling me to go to car 12. Apparently, I had taken a seat in the first class car and didn't know it. I was embarrassed, but also frustrated because it was an honest mistake. I pulled my bag down and made my way to car 12. Once I arrived in car 12, I found a seat at another table and a gentleman across the car from me politely smiled. I pulled out my salad, so hungry and ready to eat. I took one bite and now the train operator was making his way through this car. He got to me and began fussing about my food, somehow communicating that I couldn't eat it. I was so confused. I began to put the salad away and feeling so disappointed because I hadn't eaten in a long time and still had another 2 hours on this train. The gentleman across from me leaned closer and said, Do you not know about the silent car? I'm pretty sure the expression on my face said it all. No, I do not have any idea what that means. He told me my ticket was in the silent car and that no one is permitted to talk on the phone, speak to each other, or eat on that train car. So it's like a car for introverts. That is the worst possible car I could be in. It kind of pissed me off that the person who sold me the ticket didn't tell me that or offer another alternative. But the guy was so nice. He smiled as he told me about it and said that it would be fine if I ate my salad. I am really not a rule-breaking kind of person, but with his generous permission, I did eat my salad. There may be other kinds of train etiquette that I'm not familiar with, so if you know more about it, please share with us in the comments. In each of the major cities, you will find metro or subway type of transportation. I have only used that a few times in Spain because I generally walk everywhere, but it's not difficult. One of the apps or websites I really like is called Rome to Rio. You can use it all over the world. You put in your location and where you are going, and it will show you a lot of different transportation options. Sometimes it will show you multiple. For example, let's look at transportation from Valencia to Barcelona. It shows different options, what the price range is, and how long that particular option will take. Sometimes it will also pair different kinds of transportation together, like this option down here where it shows a train ride and then a flight. Speaking of flights, let's not dismiss this option for flying between cities in Spain. If a flight only costs 20 euro and is an hour, but a train costs 60 euro and is 3 hours, maybe a flight is the right option for you. Another great way to get around are buses. You can take bus routes between cities about as fast as you could drive them yourself. For example, you might choose a bus ticket between Madrid and Valencia that is between 30 and 40 euro. In this case, the bus ride would be about 4 hours. So it's a little longer than taking a train, but you might see more and it could end up being the less expensive option. There are also local buses in the cities. That would require a little more independence than if you were taking the metro. Some cities like Valencia offer tourist transport passes that allow you to take various forms of transportation like the metro and the bus lines. Okay, now let's talk about rideshare. I probably don't need to introduce you to Uber, which you can use in most major cities in Spain. Another common app that works pretty much like Uber is called Cabify and might even be more popular in Spain. Something you might not be as familiar with is BlaBlaCar. This is a carpooling app. It probably isn't as easy when you need a ride right away, but it can be great for saving when you have a longer trip and you know at least a day or so in advance. This can be used in the US too, it's just not as popular. Just like any other transportation app, you put in the city you are departing from and the city you are going to, your date of travel, and how many passengers. It will give you a list of available drivers, their rating, the cost, other passengers who will also be on that ride, and more. You can pay online or pay the driver in cash. Just make sure you have the right amount of cash before the ride begins. Okay, last I want to talk about cars. First rental, and then we'll talk about buying cars in Spain. Car rentals are pretty straightforward and some of the cheapest I've rented anywhere in the world. On my first trip to Spain, I rented a car that I picked up from the Valencia airport. My cost for the car rental was less than $25 for 13 days. Not $25 per day, $25 total. I'm not sure that the deals are still that crazy good, but it's reasonable. I'm going to Valencia next month in November of 2022, and I just booked my car rental today. The booking is for 9 days, and my total was around 120. So it wasn't dirt cheap, but still reasonable. Now let me tell you a few things about renting a car in Spain. First of all, most cars in Europe are manual transmission, so if you don't know how to drive a stick shift, you will definitely end up paying more to drive an automatic. Sorry. Make sure you filter that in the search results because it won't be easy if you just try to change it last minute at the airport. Secondly, before you take off for Europe, you will need to get your IDP, which stands for International Driver's Permit. When I first started renting cars in Europe, you were technically supposed to have it, but you didn't need it to get your car rental. But in 2019, when I went to pick up my rental and didn't have my IDP with me, they wouldn't allow me to get the car. It left me stranded for the evening in tears, having to get a hotel at the last minute. Such a stressful situation. Anyhow, in the US, it's super easy to get your IDP. Just go to your nearest AAA office, maybe call them in advance to make sure that they issue IDPs. You can print out the application online and fill it out in advance. Take your driver's license with you, as well as 2 passport-sized photos. Usually they can take the pictures for you at the AAA office for an extra fee. The cost for your permit is $20 and you walk out the door with it. You don't have to do anything with driving or learning about driving internationally. The purpose of the permit is to translate your home country driver's license into 10 different languages. If you are already overseas and you forgot to get your IDP, you can go to the AAA website and get information about ordering one by mail. But I believe you should expect to wait 5 to 7 weeks for it. So just make sure you get it before you go. For booking car rentals, I always use Skyscanner. That's where I got the crazy deal I talked about before. I have a link to their site in the description. It is an affiliate link, but this is a site that I already knew and loved long before having a channel, so it's definitely a legit recommendation. Quick tip for booking cars. Sometimes just changing the hour of the pickup or drop-off can drastically change the price, so you might want to play around with that when you are ready to book. Okay, now let's talk about buying a car in Spain. Like I said before, car rentals are really cheap, so usually I was just renting cars for 2 or 3 weeks at a time and then swapping out the car for another car rental. It seemed that the 2 and 3 week time periods were where I got the best deals. But in 2019, I was in Spain over the holidays, and oh my gosh, the car rental prices were through the roof. For the period of time I needed, it was going to cost me €600 to rent a car. I was like, for that much? Why don't I just buy a car? I ended up finding a really sweet deal through Facebook Marketplace, a 2001 Honda CR-V. Y'all know a Honda can last forever. But this little car was in pristine condition, had relatively low miles, and it would have been the top of the line model in the year it was released. I was able to purchase this car for around €1,400. The people selling it turned out to be a small used car dealer in Alicante. We made the drive down to see it and test drive it. They had a couple of small cosmetic parts that had been ordered, so we had to drive back down to pick it up a few days later. The car dealer handled all of the paperwork for us. One important note, though, is that you have to have your NIE, which is your tax identification number in Spain, and also a deed to your house or a contract that shows a rental for at least a year. So you don't have to be a resident of Spain, but if you aren't a resident, then you would need to own a house or have a longer-term visa. Because I already owned a home in Spain, this process was super easy for me, and anytime the dealer needed something, they just messaged me on WhatsApp. My car insurance cost me about $300 per year, so make sure you factor that in when deciding if buying a car is best for you. Okay, well, I hope this video was helpful to you, and I hope that when you go to Spain, that you'll consider walking when you can. There really is so much to see. It would mean the world to me if you liked this video and subscribe to join me every day where travel and adventure build financial freedom. I can't wait to see where your dreams will take you.